everyone, welcome back to this week weekly market update. So as usual, let's see what happens on last week. Let's do some recap, and then we'll see what happened on this upcoming week. Things to watch out for before you start your week of tradings or investing in the market itself. So last week, as we can see that last Friday the market closed, not in a good favor to the long investor. Is dropped once again. So Dow actually dropped for the 6 straight weeks, and for Nasdaq, right, it dropped for the 5 week losing streak since 2012. So we can see that major indices has been dropping crazily, but we know that one significant thing on last Wednesday is that the market actually shoot up, all right, 900 points, more than 900 points, more than almost 3% on Dow Jones itself on Wednesday when the Fed give the assurance or decided to hike the 50 basis point rate on Wednesday night itself. Of course, you will be puzzled. How come when the rate actually hike, the market shoot up instead? All right, many reasons explained over here. Firstly, we can see that it gives the assurance that the Fed do what they said. So people has actually oversold price in previously, but ultimately it's because Fed mentions all right, they rule out the prospects of larger rate hike on Wednesday. Then this sense this give the best rally on since 2020 that it got up 900 points. But do take note, eventually, if let's say it rule out the prospect of 75 basis point rate hike going forward, but the 50% basis rate hike is still there, right? Because they are still hawkish at this point of time. They still believe that the inflation rate at all-time high. So we should take note on next Wednesday, next week economy earnings, economy report on the US CPI. So if let's say this right is showing a high inflation, the inflation is not going to reverse, it's still not going to stabilize, they will actually continue to do their rate hike, not 75 basis, but still 50 basis. After all, in the fundamental, theoretically wise, right, where you rate hike, it's going to be back to the equity side. So eventually, the 900 point that stands up, right, it's just the market phobia, or for people who actually short sell, close their positions. I don't see any strength for it to go even higher. All right, with so many bad news out there, I'm not just because I've been bearish guy, but it's just the fact is that there's no free money. All right, this period we know the COVID issue. All right, the COVID issue, the Fed print money, interest rate hike is not on the table. They are cutting. That's why the money go higher. Right now, do not fight against the tip which I mentioned. We are actually at the downside. I just draw two straight lines. It's so obvious, right? It's just that eventually the market is very volatile. If you can't take the volatility, right, then just stay aside. It can be in this way. It can be in this way. All right, but ultimately we are still at the downside. Okay, why take take note, like I mentioned, when we increase the 50 basis point, it's going to hurt the economy data. The company earnings as well. True enough, because they are borrowing money, they are on debt, especially on the technology side. So it's really going to affect their reports. If let's say the company is not doing well, Dow Jones is tracking the main 30 company, right? If the main 30 company component is not doing well, eventually it's going to be lower of the previous high, lower of the previous low. So we are still at the downside. Please do not fight the dip. Yes, there is some rebound. You can see the first rebound, 34,000. I given this three figure. All right, 34,000. So it rebound once. So next week, what am I looking at? I'm looking at, because right now we have 2 week forming. A lot of week, all right? First week, second week. So if let's say the week give way and it forms something like that next week, break the 32,300 which I mentioned last week video. If you break below, we are looking at the next support. Okay, don't think that I'm over exaggerate that you will drop 2,000 point. I think hiking 100 900 point per day basis is eventually not a surprise to the market anymore. All right, don't forget which I mentioned, when we are at the bounce side, we take leave, come down. We go up, we climb stairs, go up. Understand that? So don't be surprised if, let's say, the market came down or dropped down next week itself. So we need to see on next week CPI, see how where can we determine on the trend itself. Okay, so this is what happened on last week, last Wednesday, last Thursday. So uh but eventually there's one counter that is doing good, is actually the energy sector. So if let's say you are the energy sector, right, then congrats to you, right, it's doing well enough. It's all-time high. Eventually the market came down. Okay, so I think it's thanks to the barrel, $100 per barrel of oil, make the company more profit itself. Okay, so next week, take note of the earning as well. If let's say you same as Warren Buffett under this company OXY, they are having the earnings report. So another counter which I want to mention is actually EA, because previously I mentioned that we are going to short this counter ATVI, right, the Blizzard. But the thing is that I then realized, so coincide that Warren Buffett actually entered into this company. We don't touch what that guy touched lah. Okay, that is the holy investor. I also read his book. I respect him. So if let's say he sees something which we don't see, I will try to tend to avoid. There might be some meat, but I don't go against with the big fella like him. So I might go into EA. All right, because it's still also the gaming company, and on the chart perspective, right, is more biased on the downside. Okay, we can see that. So firstly, we draw the support line. Okay, so I mean you can draw here, you can draw here, you can draw here, it's up to you lah. But to me it's like an up right now. Eventually we are at the uptrend previously. Right now we know that this is the high. We are forming a lot of top and like a shoulder. So this is a okay. So if once this line give way, we will be looking at the next support level. Okay, so this is similar to ATVI, but I think from the chart perspective, closing on the weekly basis, right, it actually closed below lah. So this is one of the signal and one of the sign. Okay, so this is a counter to watch out for next week, especially is on the coming on the earnings. If let's say you do not like to trade during the earnings, just stay away from it. Okay, so Nasdaq also closed all-time low. Dow Jones also closed all-time low. So non-farm payroll eventually is not that bad, slightly off the target for the unemployment rate, higher on the non-farm payroll, but the market is still not performing well. Okay, so the CPI data next week is very important. Okay, so next week we might take a look of few things. Of course, there's a lot. I mean, you guys can read. But I just want to go to the chart because there's many things to share over there. So for the chart perspective, let's take a look for Nasdaq. Okay, so this is what I mentioned last week. You can see the circle is still there lah. Right, so I'm not going to remove it. This is what I'm looking at. We break the 12,500. We close below. All right, we close below. So where are we looking at? We are looking at this 11,500, which I mentioned. Right, I still mention this is on March. Okay, so which I mentioned right now is close below the 61.8% fibo. This is a fibo, close below it. We are looking at 50% fibo, coincide with the 200-day moving average. All right, this is the weekly chart. Okay, not to forget, this is the weekly chart. So let's remove everything. Oops. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. So let's 1 second. Okay, so let's remove all the circle. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. I see more room for the drop lah. Okay, so just be aware. It can be somewhere bounce. If it bounce, then remember to short. Okay, it bounce is for you to get out. It bounce is not for you to buy in cheap. It's not cheap enough. There is still way cheaper. Okay, so take note on that. Next counter we will be looking at I think is on the Visa, which I mentioned to short it. I think in my Telegram group I did mention as well. So this is what I draw on the 23rd April. Right now we are heading into the May, so it's 2 weeks later. Short somewhere here, hold it tight. All right, eventually after the earnings, we still holding. So earnings good, gap up, we shorted. Put in my Telegram, shorted. We are still holding. So where are we looking at? Let's look at the weekly chart perspective. So we are looking at 190 at the support. So it's still somewhere, some room to go lah. Another $10 for it to fall. All right. So take note, we are still on the downside. Next counter, a lot of people if you follow closely, you put your alerts, whatever. This is what I mentioned last month. Remember, 10 April. Uh, 10 April is exactly 1 month. I'm looking bias on the downside. One strong bearish candle on the weekly chart itself. So once it seems like we are hanging at the support area for MGM, we are hanging at the support area, but I'm still at the bias. I'm still biased at the downside with this current market situation. So I'm still looking at the first minor support at 35. We are $3 away from it, and then once it break, we are looking at the $30. All right. So yeah, I don't know what to say, but I'm kind of like biased on the bearish at this point of time. All right. So next counter, which we mentioned, I'm not sure how many follow this. If you follow, congrats, because after the earnings report, it gapped down 30%. It's earnings badly. I mean, you don't look at here, like they already give guidance, profit guidance. They are not going to perform well in 2023. So it gapped down on Wednesday, and then the market closed below it on Friday. Okay, so 10 April, 1 month ago, break 32 Fibonacci support. We will see next level at $22.50. Right now, where are we? $20.51. You can say that I predict, I whatever, but eventually go to my target area, right? So don't be so surprised that it have one huge gap down. If it can happen on Netflix, drop 30%, I don't see why it can't happen in Leaf. All right. So we are close on these positions. We hit our target. If you hold the short since then, since I don't know when, 12th December, wow. Okay, if you are shorting and you hold until now, congrats to you. Big bonus. One good trade, your end of your year of 2022. Close your book, enjoy your day. But if you are not, then continue to follow this video. Hopefully you manage to find some gem in it. Okay, next counter, we are looking at RUT Russia, Russell 2000. Russell 2000, like I mentioned, continue to drop. Next support 1750. It's coming, it's coming down. Each week, each candle, a lot of people like to deny against me. Come on, I don't make money. I mean, I don't make money when you're losing money. I just see what the chart show me, what's the economy show me. Just use some of my little bit of knowledge to just share with you guys. So the candle you don't believe, the next candle you don't believe, when the candle reach here, then you believe it's too late because people make the money already. True or not? So I'm not earning from your pocket lah. Okay. Next counter, sports. $100 is the major support. The market did not close below the $100. All right, after it touches, it bounce up. Eventually, the market dropped badly, but it still bounce up. I'm not saying that there's any strength at this point of time. Don't get me wrong. All right, I'm not saying that. Wow, Sean say $100 good support. I'm going to enter in. Then I'm going to buy. No. All right. So what I'm trying to say that we need to form more support here, and the major indices have to form some higher. What do I mean by higher of the previous low? All right. So once the indices is going up, we move according to the major indices. This should be fine. But the major indices is coming down. So what are we looking at this time? At this point of time, at this environment, is that if the market is dropping and this price able to hover around here, it's not going to show any low or the previous low or even lower. All right, then we can actually consider to put this into watch list. Okay, so this is how we look at it. All right, so don't straight away jump into the gun and play with the uh, environment and this environment. All right, in the equity side. So just take note. All right, so one last counter is actually QQQ. So this is like the index lah. All right, the Nasdaq, because it's all the technology. So big technology earnings report is over. I think nothing saved them. So I'm still at the downside. It break the 61.8% Fibonacci level. It closed below it. All right, it closed below it. So where is our area? 288, 290 will be our first target. There is still some more meat lah. Okay. Lastly, let's take a look on the for gold. Okay. For gold, this is one kind of like a big mistake. I mentioned that you will see all-time high. We might see even higher. Eventually, it go close to near 2,000, or hit the 2,000, and then it even go even higher. All right, why? It's because that we know gold is actually the inverse relationship to dollar, to US dollar. We know that when rate hike is in place, it will definitely jerk up the dollar, the value of the dollar. So when the dollar go higher, gold eventually will come lower. All right, so let's take a look where is US dollar currency right now standing. Can you see that we have been going higher, 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 shooting up Bollinger. This is the Bollinger breakout already. All right, this is the Bollinger breakout, shooting all time high, go even higher. All right, let's see. Is it the all time high? Okay, since 2017. Okay, when it go higher, I will think yes, it will go higher. US dollar will continue to go even higher if let's say the high is on the table, the next 50% basis point. So take note, for gold itself, I will just stay out first, not going to the commodities. Dollar strengthen is actually bad for the commods. Okay, so for lastly for VIX, oops, for VIX which I mentioned, all right, VIX is the fear in the market. VIX is the fear in the market. So eventually the market, mm, Wednesday it plunged down because the 900 point. Thursday it got up. Friday eventually it closed below, right? It go high, it go below, but the VIX came down. All right, it opened, it shot up, but it came down, just like what happened to the index itself. So I'm expecting with the drop after the carving on Thursday, right? The VIX should be even higher. But it seems like the market is still not really that bad after all, that kind of thing. Maybe it's because the big company like Apple does not really drop out yet. But once Apple, $1 trillion company, give way, we are about there lah. All right. So firstly, 157 giveaway. This is all the Fibonacci level circuit lah. Okay, so if let's say you are into Apple, take note on this few circle area. Basically, it's just the Fibonacci. You can draw the swing low to the swing high. Where is the low which I took is actually the COVID period 2020. Swing high is all the all-time high. We can see divide into different phrase. This is the target. So if let's say Apple came down, firstly, it broke the support line. Second, it formed a double top. Okay, support T9, T9. Okay, so this is the next area. All right, so that's all for this week weekly market update. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to put something into your watch list and monitor from there. Hopefully you guys strike a big bonus, strike a big jackpot, and close your book early and enjoy your year of 2022. Uh, it's a very volatile year. I think the market will not see the all-time high once again. Since we are at the mid-year, I don't see we'll see the all-time high anyway. And the market can be swinging triple digit up to fourth digit on the Dow Jones side per day basis. So if you can't take this volatility, move into the Singapore market like REITs, those safe investment, then right throughout this whole another half year of 2022, then we'll come back once again. Okay, if you are a short-term trader, you participate in the market, you like to listen to the market, you like to do trading, then feel free, uh, drop me a message. I believe you have my Facebook page. Drop me a message over there. Tell me what counter you are looking at. I can actually do some quick review for you guys. If you're not doing well in your portfolio, let me know what stocks you're holding. I can take a look in your portfolio for you and do some recommendation as well. All right, so this is what I can help you guys. Hopefully, can help you guys as much as possible. It's just my passion in doing it. That's all for me. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.